god, how is everybody doing?
Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad who
Oh,
loves
how
berries
is
and cream.
everybody doing? It's motherfucking Sunday. It took me a second to remember what day it was.
Berries and cream.
Welcome in, Crucian. Welcome in, Pushing Buttons Games. Welcome in, No Flow. Welcome in, Franny. Welcome in, Jimothy. I know you're back there too. For everyone that's so inclined, there is currently a $60 billion double dollar bounty on It's Franny's B's head. You do not have to detain himself. Preferably, I would like him kept alive. If you cannot safely imprison him in like a box or like, I don't know, like a trap, like a box with like a stick that's like you put like Vegemite or whatever, Marmite, Thermite, Thermite underneath, whatever it is that attracts British people. That's basically all you have to do. No need to get hands-on. Ew, who's this guy? Who let this motherfucking siren in here? Dude, the music is too loud. Music is too loud. Alright, Socket, I ain't gonna be the one to say that if you were to be perched on like a rock out in the middle of the ocean, and then lure sailors or sailoresses to their doom using your voice, I ain't not saying that neither. Deadlock after? No. We both know the price and it's too high. The Thermite might ruin the alive thing. You don't have to touch him with it. Bovril is much better. How'd you know? I just know these things. Okay. Today's gonna be a bit of a as the English say, a bit of a sticky wicket. It's still too loud. We're gonna do the thing where I say words at you for like 1 to 2 hours. Okay. And these words may or may not help you in some way. They may or may not apply to something that's going on in your life that may be a little bit difficult to deal with. I'll go through the whole spiel when the time comes, but basically it'll be like 1 to 2 hours of things happening, and then depending on where we're at, I'll segue over to Frostpunk 2 because it's living rent-free in my head at the moment, and I need to play it. I need to play it. It needs to be played. It wants to be played. If those words do not apply, do we get a refund? Yes, absolutely. You will not take me alive. Yeah, but you know, we don't need to take you alive. We just need to, like, I don't know, throw nets and shit on you. Throw nets and shit on you, like fuck with you a little bit, maybe like lick our finger and stick it in your ear. Fran the stampede. Oh man. So yeah, the docket for today is this thing for 1 to 2 hours, and then maybe, depending on how we're all feeling, namely me, like 2-ish hours of Frostpunk 2, and then I have a meeting? Question mark. I have like a big deal meeting. I've got like I'm kind of becoming like a big deal streamer, you know. So I've got like meetings now. With my producer slash marketing analyst slash future social media manager slash something. Something's going down. Something going down today. That's all Zaz knows. So basically we'll play Frostpunk 2 until I'm told that the person is ready. If they wish to be named. I don't know if they're here or not. Give It's Franny B a little raspberry on their bare tummy until they pee from giggling. I mean, that's what I typically do, and if anything, it just makes them worse. Welcome in, Hokabishu. Good to see you. Shout out, Hokabishu. Got lots of cool people in here, chat. Lots of cool people. Big things, chat. Big things.
Look, lady, whatever you're selling, I ain't buying, yo.
Well,
I am streaming
White,
from
yo.
my in-laws' house.
My husband is Walter White, yo.
I'm streaming from my in-laws' house, which does not necessarily affect you.
Everything.
It does mean that because I am an professional streamer, I literally took my entire streaming setup. Literally my entire streaming setup, and I brought it with me. This is how much I care. I brought my entire streaming setup with me. All the way over here, 5 hours to my in-laws, and reset it up. I'm using a monitor, a secondary monitor, that's like 10 years old. Okay? So it's and it's using an adapter that is itself not very high quality, which means that technical issues may happen that I have no way of preparing for or dealing with at this current time. All right. Hello, Stoic. Why'd you do that to Aerith? Why'd I do what to Aerith? This?
Look, lady, whatever you're selling, I ain't buying, yo.
Well, my name is Skylar White, yo. My husband is Walter White, yo.
You're just jelly because you can't make that.
He told me everything.
You're just jelly because you can't make that face. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I've never seen your face. All I've heard is like your hot voice. For hours, man. All right, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna do something I have not done before on these Stoicism streams. I'm going to do a tonal change. Okay. So, I like in the past, whenever I've had to deal with something, or I've had to prepare for something, or I've been trying to get myself into the right frame of mind, I listen to music in order to get me to where I want to be mentally and to keep me there. All right. We're going to listen to Xenogears, the one who is torn apart, for like a full-on hour. If it starts to seem like it's getting annoying to me to hear the same song for like an hour, even as much as I love this song, then I'm gonna change it. All right. But this song has special meaning to me. And it's also happens to be pretty good at ambiance. All right. So we're gonna put this motherfucker on loop here in the back, and then I'm gonna hit the snooze button once, and hopefully that lets it. Yeah, look at that ad break timer go, baby. Alrighty. Welcome in, Tierna. Shout out, Tierna. So, shout out, Andy. Big. I'll explain the AMA link in a second. All right, so let's get started. Like the other Stoicism Stream Specials, on top of talking about self-help life advice strategies that are just general enough to apply to whatever might be bothering you today, or tomorrow, or yesterday, a little or a lot, this stream is going to double function like you, chatter, are just hanging out with me, drinking coffee, or whatever it is that you like to consume, tea perhaps, and talking about our brains and how they work. I've set up links to an anonymous sign-up list feedback site, which was thrown in chat, and is also showing on my stream itself. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's in the section below. You can ask me questions you have any time about anything. And this is in case you want to ask something, but it might be sensitive to you, and you don't want it associated with your Twitch or YouTube username. Links are pinned at the top of the Twitch chat, can be summed up with !AMA, so on and so forth. I'm occasionally going to stop to check the site to answer questions, basically when I need time to like breathe. You're so welcome, Andy. I'm glad that you're here. Play One Who Bears Fangs at Gods instead, Chomp. I don't have a 1 hour rendition of One Who Bears Fangs at God, so you're just gonna have to fucking just sit there and be pretty, okay? Welcome in, Emily. Good to see you. Shout out, Pickers Gill. For base covering purposes, I'm not accredited. I'm not certified. I'm not licensed anywhere to perform psychological or philosophical counseling. I can say that I've helped people. Anything they ever say in a Stoicism stream, and when you press that say something stoic, like channel point redeem thing, is drawn exclusively from what I practiced or applied myself in real world situations. There's no minimum or maximum amount of time this thing is going to run. We're just going to keep talking until it seems like a good time to stop. We'll then take a 15-minute break or 20-minute or whatever, and maybe swap over to Frostpunk 2, depending on how I'm feeling. A lot of what is going to come out of my mouth is going to be heavy, and it's probably going to feel intense sometimes. It's because I'm literally, Stoicism is about grabbing your brain and giving it information that it cannot easily argue with, and different ways to deal with those things that perhaps may not have been obvious to you at the time. If you have any questions about anything that we go over after stream ends, just reach out to me on Discord, and I'll get back to you on ASAP. My socials are !socials. Franny, only a licensed badass. Welcome in, Caladrius. Good to see you. Shout out, Caladrius. GG. Cal, can you tell me how the fucking shirts are? Can you tell me how the shirts are so I can stop thinking about it? That way, you know, if there's something off with them, then I can, you know, I could fucking give you freebie shirts or see what, you know, methods I have in order to make sure that, you know, you get the product that you were seeking out. Lastly, before I get started, why am I doing this? It's because I owe a debt. I owe Stoicism. I owe this philosophy, these people from thousands of years ago, for who I am. And the belief that I can become the type of person I've wanted to be since I was a kid. I owe it to people going through what I did the majority of my life, hopefully to give them the tools they need to help themselves before they feel completely lost or alone like I did once. For I would say a good 3/4 of my life. All right. It is a goal for me to stream part-time if we get there full-time, so I have as many opportunities as possible to impact people like that with these Stoicism streams. If I continue to help even one person with every stream, I consider accomplishing my core goals, no matter how much or how little money flows through the channel, or whether I float 1 million followers or 1,000 or 100 or 1. I still have not put it on. I can see it. It's right over there. Fucking put it on now. Put it on in front of chat. Today I'm going to dig into how I recommend starting practicing Stoicism and knowing and experiencing everything that I have. As you make little bits of progress yourself, you will eventually learn ways to convince yourself along, to push forward or through difficult situations, what self-reminders are personally effective for you. Stoicism is full of ideas that are intuitive and immediately easy to recognize or agree with, IMO, LOL, but it's not necessary to call yourself a Stoic in your own mind or out loud. You don't need to subscribe to anything. There's no converting to it like a religion. It's not a cult, exclamation point, not a, or hashtag not a cult. You don't have to get a tattoo or anything, all right? An important thing to keep in mind, however, is that Stoicism is only as effective as far as you choose to take it, and how consistent you are in trying to apply it. As a practicing Stoic, you're agreeing that there are aspects of your life that you want to change. That some part of you is cognizant that no amount of money or power or fame is likely going to patch that feeling. You are, in essence, agreeing to re-sculpt your mind, whether a bit or a lot, into simply thinking differently. It's going to take time. And it's going to... Not a cult, not interested. Alright, fine, it's a cult. Fuck. Oh, I don't know if you stream LT Bago. LT Bago and I have hung out since the Lady M days. Wonder how Lady M is doing. Last played Princess Tomato in the Salad Kingdom. It sounds base as fuck. Stoicism is thought of, in my opinion, best as a web. Like a spider web. A series of interconnected, interweaving principles, concepts, and choices. What this does is that it makes Stoicism extremely resilient as a system, meaning it's more effective and more reliable when you need to call on it the most. It also, unfortunately, makes it difficult to know where to start, since each part of the web is dependent on and reinforces the others, and the vast majority of Stoic literature has been lost, or has been retranslated about 1 billion times. We're talking about 2,000-year-old stuff, and, you know, the whole Dark Ages thing happened, and like the burning of the Library of Alexandria and so on and so forth. OT level 69 Stoic here is not a call for sure. Just give me $100,000 and I can tell you the truth about Stoicism. It means that whatever you knowingly put in practice improves your understanding of every other part. That's the takeaway. At the very start, the most helpful thing that you could do, and to keep in mind, is not letting yourself get frustrated when you fail. Okay, that applies generally, but particularly here. You are doing by trying to practice stoicism one of the most difficult but worthwhile things a person can do, which is retraining your brain to think in a way that it simply hasn't been expected to for as long as most of us have been sentient. From the moment that we started thinking in terms of I want or I am, we've been 1,000 times more affected by the culture surrounding us. Typically, these cultures are capitalistic, at least in some sense. They're generally speaking a hybridized like mishmash of cognitive dissonant things, simultaneously telling us what is that it's what's on the inside that counts, not what's on the outside, that it's not really possible to be happy or at peace unless there's some number or some line in our life that is going up, or that we achieve some milestone by some specific age, by some decay point in our lives. Shirts off fits well, arms a little tight, but that's a me thing. That's because you're so fucking jacked, all right? Stoicism doesn't agree that a line needs to go up. Stoicism doesn't agree that the number has to keep increasing, or that it needs to not fall. Stoicism doesn't suggest that you need to achieve some milestone by whatever arbitrary number that you want to put next to your age. Okay? Stoicism asserts that not only is it possible to actually be happy and at peace when the line or the number doesn't go up, or when the milestone isn't hit, it claims, accurately in my own experience, that it's possible even when the line or number goes down, or there's few or even no milestones are hit. It suggests that knowingly being a good person is not only sufficient to being happy and at peace, it's a requirement. and the only true way of reaching and keeping that state of being. I only join cults, that's why I like stoicism. Me too, brother. Alright, let me spot check this site, make sure I didn't miss anything. I did not. Alright. Alright. All this shit starts by setting the stage for yourself of what you are as a human being. Right now, and what you or we all were when we were born. Human beings are born with a quality that is unique to them among every other animal. This quality is reason. Humans cannot fly naturally like birds. They can't swim naturally as easily as fish. They can't naturally run as fast as horses can. We're also naturally social animals. We're driven together to form groups and relationships. We start life as relatively blank slates with vague notions of what seems good or bad, and we use our groups, and the groups that are around us, to try to help round out those notions, for better or worse. To add to this, we're constantly grappling with the same set of basic instincts every animal has. To not be hungry, to not be thirsty, to not be too hot or too cold, and so on. Cult. Is there a morality component to stoicism, or can you be an amoral stoic? You cannot be an amoral stoic. As stoicism, as the world gets increasingly fricked, people have gravitated to stoicism. It's seen somewhat of a revival. I was not a part of that initial revival. I thought that I was just a dude that was trying to make this thing that I read work. Okay, so with that preface out of the way, there typically are two camps of people that call themselves Stoics out there. The first camp of Stoics are the people like me who are trying to take the system, take the parts that we know better now from, like the sciences. Like for example, the Stoics used to believe that, and just like everyone back then, right? Because we don't have the tools and the information that we do now. Back then, they used to think that your brain was located in your heart, right? That it was in your, like the functions of thinking happened in your chest. All right. So some things like the physics and the biology and stuff like that, you can change, you can adapt, right? They were remarkably closer than I think that they're like freakishly close to the idea of like the Big Bang Theory, not the actual event, not the show. And things like atoms, like how like that were made of very little tiny itty bitty little microscopic pieces of stuff that basically like cohees into a human being that goes into the garage this morning and tries to be helpful and refill all the Coke cans in the fridge and drop one because it was deformed and have it explode violently all over the place. Just using a freak example. So there's people like me, essentially, that form the first group that try to adapt what needs adapting and to try to apply the rest of it in good faith. There's a secondary group of people that believe that Stoics are all about just exclusively not giving a frick. Okay, that it's that life is that that the takeaway for Stoicism is that, you know, it's a dog eat dog world, and you know, if you that I should not care about how I affect you, that I can say and do shit that comes naturally to me, and if you're bothered by that, then that's your problem. That is not at all what Stoicism is about. It never has been about that. But some people just like to do like a Cliff Notes like overview read of what the philosophy is and forcibly extract the stuff that allows them to be an asshole. And with that, you know, basically what you said, like an amoral, like I'm gonna say I subscribe to this like ancient religion, or not ancient religion, it's not a religion, this ancient philosophy, and just push out all the parts that mean that I have to actually care about how I'm impacting people. What about the idea that good evil is subjective and not cosmically objective? Would it be possible to reconcile being a good person and that idea together? So within the framework of Stoicism, good and evil is internal. They have different ideas, or had different ideas, of what the universe consisted of, which basically consisted of like 3 or 4 different possible arrangements of the universe. One, that everything is fucking chaos, that things are just happening randomly around us. That 2, things are driven by cause and effect, like everything is just a butterfly effect, okay? So it's not random, right? There's patterns that influence everything. A butterfly beats its wings on one half of the world, and that gets sucked into the current that becomes like a tornado on the other side of the planet, that sort of thing. Or the third idea is, according to the Stoics, that life, that the universe is that nature, the capital N nature, is like a biological plant, that it doesn't know consciously why it's doing the things that it's doing. It's just naturally arranging things in such a way by you know, designs that make sense to it unconsciously to be the way that it is. Or, and this is the closest thing to like the Judeo-Christian idea of what God is, or like the gods plural, in that the universe as a whole is conscious and is deliberately ordering things to happen in a certain way, deliberately. However, we are just a part of it, right? We're not the focus. We're capable of recognizing these patterns and that they could be conscious, but that you know, it's not in the same sense as like a Judeo-Christian God, where it's like he cares about me explicitly. It's more of like in the sense that the universe is conscious. It's like we are a integral part of its functioning. We just happen to have a shared property with it of reason, and that we're able to tell kind of what our design is if we really focus on it, like what our individual point is. Then that's not something that other animals can do unless they're aliens, and they don't really touch on aliens at all. But in each of these circumstances, and whether everything just happens fucking randomly, that it's all literally RNG, or that things are happening as like a butterfly effect, a cause and effect, a chain link, however you want to think of it, or that the universe is like a biological plant, or that it's like a conscious living thing that's arranging events in itself, and while it has given us the property to recognize what it's doing, it may not necessarily be trying to cater to each of us, because that's impossible, right? I'm gonna segue a little bit. It's impossible for nature, according to this envisioning of the Stoics, to care about us and want us individually to succeed at everything that we're doing. Okay? Because we are all individual meat people in an individual meat person world. If something happens, necessarily there's a reaction to it, right? We don't have magic powers. We can't will things into being, right? We're not Protoss. You know what I mean? So there's the necessarily a give and take there. Not that nature is uncaring, because if it was uncaring per the Stoics, they wouldn't give us the ability to reason. We wouldn't have it, right? We wouldn't be able to be given. We wouldn't be given courage and endurance and patience and so on. The characteristics that allow us to deal with things when they don't necessarily go the way that we would prefer. I'm gonna check on something real quick. Okay, I think we're good. Jedi, I heard we gain enlightenment if we pray here today. It's not a religion, it's not a cult. I cannot stop you from praying, but there's nobody necessarily to pray to. Nature has bigger fish to fry than if I do good, so it lets me figure that out on my own. Right. We have the characteristics in order to deal with whatever happens. And that according to the Stoics is the godlike element. That's in us. But to answer your question as a whole, possibly, regardless of what they kind of put a pin on it at the end of this explanation that I gave you, where regardless of whether, you know, what the actual consistency of nature or God or however you want to word it is, that it doesn't matter. That in none of the circumstances does it change how we should try to conduct ourselves, how we should try to identify what the right thing, quote unquote, to do in a given situation is, and to do that regardless of whether we're punished in some way or if we're rewarded, like monetarily, or, you know, with like a I don't know why my brain was like with like a Tesla Cybertruck. I don't know if I would even want that. So we're constantly grappling with the same basic instincts every animal has: to not be hungry, to not be thirsty,
Thank you
hot,
for the
cold,
subscription,
so on.
Ashen
Thank
One.
you so much for the subscription, G Diggle. I cannot believe that it's been 6 months already.
Less than 3.
I love you, buddy. In any scenario, I'm the sole arbiter of my own actions and decisions. Yeah, exactly. If we were animals that did not have the ability to reason, that just feeling full in a temperature balanced environment, doing our own thing would be enough, it's not. Reason itself adds a new higher tier of needs to this mix of basic instincts that we have that we can't ignore. Wanting to be a good person, we want to understand our purpose, we want to understand the point of what it is that we're thinking or feeling or doing, and makes it so that even when we're feeling full or not thirsty or in a temperature controlled environment, or we have, you know, like an island in the Cayman Islands, or that we're extraordinarily famous or like infinitely wealthy and so on, every animal on Earth, including humans, seeks out things that thinks are beneficial to it and avoids things it thinks it isn't beneficial to it, right? So even if you want, or what most people would think literally want for nothing, you still have this set of higher needs that, if not fulfilled, you won't be happy. I mean, all you have to do is casually like sweep out your arm and think of a million examples of people that have more money than everybody in this room will ever see in their lifetime. Okay? That have so much power and influence that they can say, like Elon Musk, like, I think ketchup is like, or at least how it used to be, I think ketchup is stinky and bad and nobody should buy ketchup. And then you see fucking Heinz stock drop down to like $1 per share, right? Even people that are that horrifically powerful still feel that something is missing. And the Stoics argue it's because you have this higher set of tiers, that if that higher tier of needs, that if you're not fulfilling, it fucks you up. You know? Lots of love to you too, bud. Was good. Getting stoic on, so good. This higher tier of needs, according to the Stoics, are met by the characteristics they call the virtues, and they're harmed by vices. This higher tier of needs overrides and even supersedes the basic ones, meaning that if the only reasonable, seemingly unavoidable course of action is sacrificing yourself to stop some catastrophe, to use an extreme example, but it did happen, and that's what you've been able to identify given the short time frame and the resources and you trying to assess like what the right action is, you do it, even if it obviously runs counter to the basic impulse to stay alive at almost any cost. So to use a typical example per the Stoics would often talk about Socrates. Right? Socrates, some would argue Socrates was kind of an asshole, and he would go around to random people and be like, "Hey, did you know that this way that you're conducting your life is actually bad, and this is why? And I'm going to try to put you on the spot for like 45 minutes."
Tarnished.
Thank you, Lady Dragon 333 for following. I appreciate it. And that I'm going to make you sit here for 45 minutes while I systematically like drill into your brain with my Socratic method. Thank you for following Invictum. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. It does help more than you might expect. That he just called it, I guess, the method. I don't know if he called it anything. I think that from Socrates' perspective, he was just having a conversation, and the other person was like, "Listen, dude, I just gave up like half my month's wage for like a thimble of salt. Can you please just like let me go live my life?" And Socrates is like, "No, we're doing this now. I'm gonna try to like fix your brain." When Socrates was thrown in jail for, and this is me putting it like the most like fast and loose that somebody could, for being like this, he was put in jail. The judges were like, "Hey, like just stop, just stop being like this." And Socrates was like, "Lol, no." And then he got thrown in prison, and they were like, "Okay, well, we can't stop him from being an asshole except by killing him." This is a gross oversimplification. Okay, please do your own research on what Socrates was like and actually did. I'm basically giving you not even the Cliff Notes version, dude. Okay, the father of modern philosophy was still a shitty dad. But the takeaway is that he was like, I'm gonna be executed. One of his friends
You're being raided, tarnished.
Oh, thank you, Lady Dragon 333 for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Stoic. I'm a self-help, life advice, philosophy, variety gaming VTuber, and I used to play Final Fantasy XI literally all the time, and I will again. When they fucking motherfucking release Treasures of Ottergon, so I can play my Blue Mage and I can fucking move on with my life because I have an Excel spreadsheet that has all the Blue Mage spells on it that I can't do anything with. Okay? I hope that you had a great stream, Lady Dragon. I'm going to now control click on your channel in OBS, and I'm going to hit the follow button. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. That I'm gonna full on submerge myself back in the deep end of Final Fantasy XI when the time comes. We're hanging out in Final Fantasy. Holy shit! I have people with me. I did not even realize that Domain and Cal were here. What the I got jump scared. Here. So we're hanging out in Final Fantasy right now, talking about how our brains work. And how to reconfigure your brain to deal with to use the same example that definitely did not happen to me this morning, you just tolerating and being able to turn constructive, you trying to be nice and fill the Coca-Cola, just so everyone is aware, the Coca-Cola rack with new fresh cans of Coca-Cola, and then a deformed one kind of slips off and fucking explodes, saturation bombing to inside of the garage with sugary liquid. And instead of me getting upset, me just calmly going into the kitchen Not me, by the way, not me. And then just, you know, dealing with it. And being like, me getting upset at it is not going to unexplode this can of Coca-Cola. Coke rack, it's not that kind of Coke. It ain't. Okay, explodes, ooh, am I gonna see this Coke rack? No, this is at my in-laws, and I don't know what the circumstances would have to be for me to take you to my in-laws, because it's like a 5-hour drive. I guess if we get married, I suppose that it could go down like that. But yeah. All right, let me refresh this Stoicism stream thing and see if there's any comments in here. No comments yet. All right, we're gonna keep moving then. So we were talking about the higher tier of needs added by reason, right? And that these needs are fulfilled by virtues and vices. I also didn't finish my Socrates story. The point of him going through that, of him staying in prison even if he knew that he was going to be executed, unalived, okay, for YouTube, graduated, that they were going to make him graduate, and him staying regardless was so that he was like, people are probably going to remember that I did this, that I'm not going to apologize for trying to do what seems right to me to try to help people improve their lives. I'm not going to apologize for that. So just, you know, unalive me, send it. And the Stoics took that to heart. You know, Cato the Younger, when he tried to stop or win the civil war between Julius Caesar, yes, that one, the one that's on the Italian dressing bottles, from like turning the Roman Republic into an empire, he had every opportunity to run, and he instead determined that it was just his time to go, and that severely pissed off Julius Caesar and was basically like a blueprint for Washington, you know, during the Independence Wars with like Will Smith in the Men in Black movie, to be like, yeah, I ain't gonna let them aliens take over the White House. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? He looks like a Taro, smells like a Galka. Is in fact a Taro. Cal that looks like a Taro, not a Galka. Graduate to the non-physical plane. Lifeless, looks like a human, but smells like a pile of you know what about this. In short, to Stoics, and as is self-evident in the most powerful, richest people in the world, not wanting for anything, having everything materially that everybody thinks is all that you need in order to just be fine with the world is not enough to be happy or at peace. Virtue, being virtuous, being a good person, not being vicious, reining in your vices is. So how do we do that? We have to start with the absolute basics. We have to set up guardrails in our brain. We have to retrain our habits, and we need to set up simple reminders. Well, I say simple. It's going to be a while before you even remember what it is that you're trying to remember and applying it to situations that make sense. That's just how it is. Boiled down, as early as possible, the Stoics have you create a distinction in your mind. There are things that are in our control and things that aren't in our control. In our control are desires, fears, opinions, judgments, and habits. Things outside our control include our health, our power, money, fame. Anytime that we confuse something outside our control as something that should be in our control, we feel distressed, we feel unhappy, angry, and envious, jealous of other people that we think that we should have their stuff instead, and so on. Anytime that we focus on things inside our control, especially when dealing with things outside of our control, we're confident, courageous, patient, resilient. Are you above it, Cal? I seem to remember you taking shots at people on DAs like they were free. Cal is a complex creature. There's all sorts of angles to him. He's like an onion. He's like an onion. You just have to peel back the layers. That was me from a week ago. I'm a changed man now. Man, ever since you became a Taro, you've been different. You've been acting real different, man. You changed. You changed ever since you became small. Oh, so he's like Shrek? Exactly like Shrek, yeah. Galkas are basically like... I mean, I don't know if this is offensive or not. They're basically like Shrek. They're all Shreks. And I can almost guarantee you they probably smell like Shrek too. The prior... Sorry, no flow, sure. So am I wrong though? No flow. You can't, dude, you can't... They're probably a little stinky. You know, they probably got that. Probably got that stank on them. That like their tail wrap. Like how often do they change that? You saw the world from a different perspective. The hate is real. It's not. It's not. Now, when I do get back fully into Final Fantasy XI, can I guarantee you that I'm going to invite a Galka White Mage over like a Taru White Mage for healing? I can't swing. I can't say one's ways or is another's. If it's gonna go down like that. But I've done it. I've done it before. You know? If they're level 75, what's that? Like 2 cure 4s of a difference? Nobody dies in Final Fantasy 11 from massive HP loss. Video of me burning this shirt soon. Listen, the Brady Games Guide from 2004 spring version that I have suggests to me that if Galkas do draw attention by healing, or I guess if they're like a black mage or whatever, that they can take a beating. So, you know, you could get hit like two times more, which is based. That's based. That's fucking sick. Okay. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, human tragedies. All human tragedies, big or small, are caused by somebody doing something because they confuse something outside of their control as something that should be in their control. To avoid this, to be a role model for others to avoid doing the same, we have to take deliberate steps to catch this happening in ourselves, and to do something else with the specific intent to build the habit. We can begin and practice with the most simple, deceptively easy, everyday choice. Eating. What we eat, how often we eat, when we eat, why we eat it, matters way more than the act lets on, but possibly not in the way that you might think. When we seek things out to eat or drink, it could be because of the taste. How sweet or spicy it is, how filling it is, even how cheap tasting it is. I fucking love Chinese buffet food. There's just something about the cheapness of Chinese buffet food where I know, like in my heart of hearts, after opening my third eye, I could sense that the food that I'm about to eat was dropped like straight up on the ground, like not even 5 minutes before. But there's just something about that, dude. There's just something about the miscellaneous detritus and effluvium that saturated that Chinese food that I just love. You know what I mean? Depends on if I'm rocking MP gear or not. Dogaka only have enough MP for 2 cure 4s anyway. It's been long enough that I legitimately don't remember. It's the SMG that good SMG. It's true. Whatever the reasoning, it might not even occur to us to try to pivot away from eating that particular thing that we set out to. Because how many people would be like, yeah, I specifically feel like eating McDonald's. I'm now going to go out and eat McDonald's. I'm approaching McDonald's at a rapid speed. I'm now, for the sake of character building, going to pivot. Welcome to the group, Kitsune, the staring at the pretty lights group. I'm now going to not get McDonald's, and I'm going to go somewhere to get a salad instead. Okay, there's a reason to do shit like that. Not all the time, just sometimes, and I'll explain why. Using a personal example, in college there was a place in the food court that made flat out the best spaghetti I've ever tasted. It's still to today, I've never tasted spaghetti from anywhere, professional or otherwise, restaurant or not, that tastes as good as that. And it was absolutely saturated in cheese. Next to the buffalo chicken wrap, the place next to it would make the spaghetti still ranks as one of the best foods I've ever had, so I'd get it all the time, literally never getting tired of it. I think it was like back-to-back spaghetti. Like, I don't know how I'm still alive. 6 months into my practicing Stoicism, I began to look at my getting this food and why pretty differently. In a real sense, I was giving control of my mind to this food, and it being there. And by extension, in a very real sense, I was giving control of my brain to the people that were making the food. and the place being open to the place itself, everything involved. What happens, or what happened if the place was closed, or they changed the recipe, or portions are different, or this particular spaghetti has its ingredients changed, or stops being sold altogether? Most people, including myself, would be disappointed, right? Maybe like a little bit sad. Some might even be mad and see it as like a high point of their day, getting fucked by this insanely good tasting spaghetti. By purposely denying myself from getting this food every time, deliberately only getting it maybe every third time, I accomplish a couple of things. I build resistance to the idea that I must eat this food simply because I have the means to get it, and I have a strong impulse to do so. And the next time that I'll likely eat it, I'll feel a double dose of appreciation. That I have the strength to not do something of my own volition, even if I really, really wanted it, and my appreciating it that much more if I do let myself get it. Okay? I've turned myself from the reacting agent into an acting one. It's choice in that moment, even if it's just fucking spaghetti. Okay? It might seem like a small action to just tell yourself no, but it has huge ramifications for how your brain works. I can understand your Galka White Mage problem. I remember watching Cal and hit 50 Galka Paladin, not being able to cast Raise, not because he didn't own it, but due to mana. Yeah. Yeah. I'll still, you know what, though? I do make it a point of inviting Galka that are in traditional mage jobs because, you know, I respect their gumption. I imagine, except in one particular case where one Galka was not good. They were not a good player. Where like if I can reasonably assume that if a Galka is gonna try to rock Black Mage, that they're going to be trying like 25% as hard, as much as like the MP that they're missing in percentage of extra tryharding to do shit. I respect it. I'll the hate. It's not that. It's literally statistical. I sound like a fucking degenerate. Okay, I understand how I sound, but it's not like that. I'm not trying to ruin Stoic's background for a stream by annoying people, Kitsune. Oh man, Cal ran away. Cal, come back. Come back, man. Come back, buddy. Okay, so it's choice that pilots you around. If you say like, I love this spaghetti more than anything else on the planet, I'm going to not get it in order to build endurance, patience, appreciation for the next time that it comes around, if I allow it to come around. It might seem like a really small, easy example, but try it. Try it yourself. See how deceptively tough it is. As you go through the motions, you're saying to yourself effectively, maybe literally, I'm going to avoid eating this thing I want to. I'm going to show myself that I'm the acting party here. I don't need to eat this particular food right now. I will choose to eat this other food instead. This isn't self-punishment. I'm proving that I'm in control and not this food or the people that are serving it. The Stoics would then have you take this sentiment and scale it up and try to apply it everywhere. You are in rush hour, right? Like your car has issues and you only just got it started. I've encountered this one many times. There was a moment where my car was such a piece of shit that I couldn't keep the car door, like the driver's side car door closed. Like it just stopped functioning and I didn't have the money to repair it. So I ended up taking the passenger's side. This is deeply unsafe, by the way, but I did it, right? And I'm not advocating doing this, but it's what I had to do. I took the passenger side belt buckle, and I pulled it all the way over to my side, and then fucking tied it like a sailor's knot onto the handle on the inside of the driver's door in order to keep the car door shut. Say that you're stopped from like you're gonna be late to work and so on and so forth, and you are in traffic and you're like, I just want this person in front of me to hit the gas. They're going the speed limit. Who goes the speed limit and so on. In that moment, you can say to yourself, I am allowing the circumstances. I am allowing this person in front of me, of their own non-fault, to take control of my brain. Is that worth it? Does that change the circumstances? Does that prevent me from trying to take this relatively fucked situation and trying to make something constructive out of it? All of the anger, all of the frustration, all the sadness in that given moment is not going to magically make the door closed.
Thank you for
It's not going to keep it closed.
Tarnished.
Thank you for following, Arxeus. I appreciate it. It's not going to make the person ahead of me speed up. There's going to be a time necessarily in the future where I'm either straight up not thinking about what happened today, or I've adapted, or I've solved it in some way. All it is, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time and me doing A, B, C thing in order to get there. Not self-punishment at all. It's reinforcing the idea that's in your control and empowering you. Self-love. Your physical body's muscles must tear and experience pain to grow. The mind and soul is not different. Did you? Oh, I thought you did! Exclamation point stoic, and it did that fucking Hello Fresh thing. Come back, I miss you. So is this stream more like the Galca 8 special? Kel, I had to go get that Galca suit on. Yeah, Kel, I thought that you were a Galca. Are you? What happened? Did you do like a? Are you wearing some kind of like Halloween costume to make you a Taro? Or did you? Or maybe there's like an I instead, like an L here or something. Let me check to see if anybody asked any questions in this thing. Alrighty. No comments. Alright, we're gonna keep it moving then. Actually, what I'm gonna do, as we're gonna start in 4 minutes or so, I'm gonna run ads now. That way I don't get interrupted by them. If you've enjoyed this so far, consider following. If you like this a lot and want to get rid of the ads, subscribing helps me a ton. Every single dollar that makes its way to the channel feeds back into it in some way, including a 2.0 final version of my channel, my model, starting soon screens, emojis, so on and so forth, all that typical VTuber shit. It all helps. Every single dollar helps. I have no desire to be a Galco, Red Mage, or White Mage. All right, I will be right back. I'm going to refresh my coffee. Don't go nowheres. Okay, we are back in it, baby. We are back in it. Hope everybody is doing good and cozy in your blankies. As the pinned comment suggests, I think that the chances are pretty high that we're gonna pivot to Frostpunk 2 in a bit. I don't know how much longer this is gonna run, this particular segment. I just have to play it. I have to play it. I have to get it out of my system. Some people have said that they are interested in seeing me play Frostpunk 2, and it gives me an excuse to play Frostpunk 2. So that's probably what we're gonna do. Alright, where were we at? Let me spot check to see if anybody put, if you type in !AMA, or if you look in the About Me section on YouTube, sorry, the section below, you'll see a link. It's also on screen. You can type in any questions in there. There's no signing up, there's no registration. You just pick a name, and then you can ask any questions that you want, and I will do my best to answer it in good faith. Just don't put anything personally identifiable in there, okay? Because other people can see what you're putting out there. Frostpunk 2 is one of Stoic's higher tier of needs, but it's just listed. Yeah, that's right. That's one that they typically leave out. I'm going to sneeze now. I'm gonna sneeze. I forget how to turn off my mic. Okay, apparently calling attention to it was all I needed in order to stop the sneeze from happening. Okay. Alright, so the overall concept is, if it's reasonable to do a thing, I'll do it. If it's not reasonable to do the thing, or not doing whatever it is does not make me a worse, less good person, I won't do it. The overall concept of doing the right thing for its own sake, of valuing willpower and choice over personal conveniences or inconveniences regardless of appearances or pressures from outside, is core to what it means to being a Stoic. One of the most high profile, biggest risk experiences that I've had of trying to implement this type of behavior, this way of thinking, was when I used to work as a personal care aide in a behavioral school that also doubled as like a special needs population school. So the school was not well run. Okay, it just was not. The principal was a type A, borderline type S personality. Okay, if you've ever, you know, this is such a weird example. For those of you that have played past Act 1 of Map 1 of Baldur's Gate 3, you know the lady, the lady, the super evil lady that projects like just evil, dominating aura. you know that lady, she had that same aura. It was different but same. Deadlock, you know what the price is for Deadlock, and nobody's gonna pay it. No rational person's gonna pay it. All right. She was like that. Okay. The resources were half there. The school only had about 50% of the actual resources it needed in order to actually take care of the people that were supposed to be taken care of. If they're about 30, like maybe a third of this, like 2/3 of the staff that we were supposed to have in order to help a population like what we had, right? And then on the principal signs off on what was essentially a grown man with extremely specific needs, and was spontaneously violent without any kind of like obvious triggers or anything like that. Was functionally nonverbal in the sense that if you asked him a question, even if he meant no, he would say yes. Okay? And there's no tonal difference, no inflection, nothing. There was no way that you could tell what this person actually wanted in the moment, except maybe an iPad, but that applied to literally everybody. Mithara, Dami Mami, yeah, exactly. Frostbook, I already read that. So I was at the time kind of held to be like the point person for people that for the people, the students the special needs persons that were particularly high intensity, right? I have never, ever in my whole time working with special needs populations ever worked with someone with this particular set of needs before. Okay, very, very big person, very physically strong, virtually nonverbal, and spontaneously spontaneously violent, without any clear indicators whatsoever when shit was about to go down. So for example, it was not unusual for this person, when they're going to get on the bus to go home, to try to headbutt you quickly and hard as they possibly could, as if you or I were like in a fight to the death. I'm going to headbutt you in order to try to cause you damage amounts of force. He would sometimes, without warning, try to grab some limb or some part of you and bite with maximum force, like zombie strength force. So if you were not protected, you would bleed. And he also had this wonderful ability that is basically like akin to like Buddhists being able to practice to some extent. It might not be Buddhists, all right, don't at me. Buddhists being able to like control their heart rate, to like slow to turn off different organs in their body, right? He could throw up at will. Okay, just think about what that is, what that looks like, what that means. He could throw up at will, and often did. And I'm not talking about like sticking here. I'm not gonna get too far into it. I'm not talking about like pretending. I'm not talking about dry heaving. I'm not talking about like him sticking his finger down his throat to do it. He could just do it. Okay, he could just do it. This was not the place for this person to be helped. I went to, nobody wanted to talk to the principal to address any concerns, because again, she had like type S like demoness aura, okay, and not in this sexy way neither. Nobody wanted to ever. It was just yes ma'am all the time or not. I was the only person, from what I could tell, that actually tried to stand up for things. And so, despite all the alarm bells ringing inside my brain, to not personally endanger, yeah, I know, no flow, to not personally endanger my own job, I went to her and I said that we cannot help this person. We don't have the resources. We don't have the people. This is beyond anything that we're equipped to handle. And she said, which I kind of predicted but hoped that she wouldn't say. She said, okay, how do you think it would look if I said to the people that I signed this off on to, if I said that we couldn't actually help this person? And I said, that does not change the fact that we cannot help somebody that's like this. All right? Like, to me, my body is meat now. Yes, my body is meat. When I've worked with special needs populations or like behavioral schools, I've been bitten. I've been headbutted. I've been beamed with an iPad at like Mach 5 from like point blank range. All right, I get what things entail, and we couldn't help this person. And I said, if you do not try to work with me, if we do not get extra personnel, if we don't get additional resources in order to try to help this person, I have to leave. There's nothing that I can do here except to try to use my leaving as a mechanism, as like a fulcrum, extra force to try to get you to do the right thing, or to try to find some way to get the right thing done. And I was not in a great position to do that financially. But the thing was that I knew that I was valuable. I knew that I had a reputation there, both with the student population and the special needs population, and with all the staff that work there. I knew that me leaving was going to be phenomenally bad for the whole school. Okay? And so she was like, I'm sorry, we're like at an impasse, I can't do it. So I left. There's no, like, if you do everything in your power. The takeaway is from me saying all this shit to you is if you cannot identify what seems to be the right thing to do is to try to gather as many resources in order to get the right thing done in what time window, big or small, that you have. You try to do the best that you can. If you cannot still do the right thing because there's some external force or external forces that are preventing you from doing it, then basically you prepare to try to use what little influence you have in order to try to bring the right result about. You have to determine if it's more appropriate for you to stay in the position, or for, by leaving, you encouraging the right thing to happen even if you're not there. As it happened, when I did end up leaving, which I did not want to be the result, but it's what ended up happening, including after the principal tried to do some like appeal to emotion shit to me. She was like, you don't understand. I see you as my, she literally said this to me, chat. She said, I see you as my protege server. This is on the Horizon server. Level 99 Gaming Wiz. I recommend it. It's a good server. Everybody that's on here, at least from what I remember, is super well adjusted. The community is, by and large, extremely friendly. The devs know what they're doing. Ostensibly, Treasures of Otter Gone is gonna be... Yeah, I'm kind of using this as a stage. I'm using it as a stage. I used to be exclusively a Final Fantasy XI streamer. And then there was a thing that happened in the game category, and I've become a variety VTuber since. But I'm sure that well, no, it's not even a sure. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee that once Treasures of Otter Gone gets re-alived through Horizon, that I'm gonna be back in it. I'm on Azura. I used to, no shit, I used to be on Azura. I loved it. I remember playing in class in Era. It's Era, vanilla Era. I don't know how I would frame it. Back in like the Wings of the Goddess days. I was about like a third into... Did they confirm that that's what that meant though? One thing that I know that the devs like to do is that they like to like tease stuff. So for all I know, unless they've confirmed it and said like, yes, this is the date that this is happening. Yeah, I asked. Okay, well, I'll see you on 12/24/24 then, assuming that the servers don't explode. I might wait like a week. To be honest with you. If it does happen, when it does happen, just to let the 80 billion blue mages make their way through Valkyrie Dunes, to allow the constant server crashing that's probably going to happen, the maintenance issues that I can only imagine are guaranteed to happen, not by any fault of the devs, but because they're reverse engineering back to life, you know, this husk of what Final Fantasy 11 used to be. And pup, yeah, the 80 billion pups, 400 people looking for party at Valkyr. Welcome in, Gonichi, good to see you. Genochi, sorry. I don't know why, I'm not dyslexic, I read this backwards. Good thing I already asked for time off. Now if I actually get in, is a different... Get in, I'm assuming that's get in, is a different thing altogether. That's why 1 to 2 weeks for me, dog. 1 to 2 weeks to let the 80 billion people in Valkyrie Dunes make their way through. To let the avalanche of blue mage, full-on blue mage parties live their lives. All right, we have a Prage Raymond here. Give me a second. We come together today in joyous remembrance of the great ignored one, Lord of the Forgotten Minutes, a deep dweller of the simul-space, lost saint of YouTube navigators, sacred host of the first question, the first that restreamed, Raymond, Whisper in the Wind, Shadow in the Dark, Ray, Prage Raymond. Praise him, the stories hold true, viewers. Raymond was the first of us to successfully make his way to our simulcasted YouTube page, youtube.com/prostoic, and ask a question. It's been said that his first spoken words are so sacrosanct and so pure that they were delivered by angels themselves to his very lips. And yet, dear chatters, every spoken syllable was met with deafening silence. As is the case with burgeoning communities, it's perfectly reasonable to believe that Raymond was by himself representing a precious opportunity for viewer engagement. Not 1 minute passed, nay 5, nay 10, nay 20, nay 30, but 50 Earth minutes passed before Raymond was believed to have been met by his streamer's response. No one knows what happened to Raymond during this time, but were he a mere mortal, it's to believe he simply tapped out and watched old YouTube playlists or booted up League of Legends only to be verbally shut on by his own team. And I viewers believe that something else happened entirely. I chatters believe that Raymond did not fade into that good night. You see, Raymond now is a living idea. He represents every chatter out there who ever took a chance on the streamer was ignored, accidentally or otherwise. Raymond is a 4 to 5 seconds of silence between every uttered sentence from a streamer's mouth while they're scrambling to think of literally anything that might be even remotely interesting to keep the average concurrent viewer count afloat. Raymond is each of us that lurks in the chat of every small streamer to support them while they're fighting through the unanticipated exhaustion of trying to intentionally make sounds with their mouth for hours. In prayer, I will face my pogs. I will permit my pogs to pass into me and others by my emoji spam. When my pogs have settled, I will turn my emoji spam inward. Where the pogs have gone, there will only be Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond. Prage! Praise him. I will now ritualistically time out It's Franny B for 1,200,000 seconds. I will see him next week. Time out It's Franny B. 1,200,000. Goodbye. Praise Raven. Praise him. So if anybody is unfamiliar, we used to have somebody on YouTube chat, our first ever YouTube chatter. Welcome in, Hex Mannequin. Shout out Hex Mannequin. We used to have, like, back when we first started simulcasting, the very first person to ever say anything on, like, my second YouTube stream was Raymond Ray. And he asked me something that was super easy for me to answer about my overlay or some shit. And I did not expect to see anybody, full stop, for like weeks in YouTube chat. So I didn't even think of checking the YouTube chat, right? And so now, you know, I did what any normal streamer would do, which is dedicate a redeemable channel point thing to basically revere him as a demigod. And we even did a whole stream where every 15 minutes I would stop and time somebody out. I guess I should let him out. He didn't actually do anything wrong. All right, I'll let him out. On time out, It's Franny B. YouTube chat is different. I do agree. YouTube chat is different. I don't know if it's even a thing for me to have my emotes on there, or if I have to use like YouTube's emotes from like Windows XP. Like they're fine. Like they're fine, but I don't know. Can you use custom emotes in YouTube chat? I'm not sure. I'll have to mod him again. There we go. Shout out Hex Mannequin. No, I shan't. By the power of Raymond, we are free of Franny. Justice for Franny. Just defeat him or he will keep coming back. Windows XP. They're Windows XP pilled. I don't know any other way to say it. Alright, let me check to see if anybody put anything in the Stoicism Stream thingy-bob. Nope, we're good. Alright, we're gonna keep going then. This concept of doing the right thing for its own sake. Valuing willpower and choice over personal conveniences or inconveniences, regardless of appearances or pressures, is core to what it means to be a Stoic. We use an example of trying to control ourselves in the face of something we want. We do the same exact thing, try to model the same behaviors in the face of something that we don't want or that we're afraid of. So long as it's in good faith with best intentions, and using what information and time we have to determine what the right thing could or would be, and then willing ourselves to do it. Using another real-life example of mine, my parents have a habit of talking over the phone for an extraordinarily long time, sometimes as long as 2 hours. During these very long phone calls, they tend to almost exclusively talk about very intense, sad, negative subjects. Their relationship with one another, how they feel like the world is burning down around them, how the rest of my family has allowed themselves to fracture, and like it's self-inflicted. They've like relationships are like really tenuous at best with each other. Everybody has a problem with somebody else, and they just allowed it to consume their brain. Yet I have and will call them anyway, knowing this, because it helps me overcome a fear that I have of lost time, quote unquote. What's wrong, Franuel? This fear of losing time is baseless because the entity, the resource that we think of as time never belonged to me. It doesn't, even now. If something could have happened that stopped me from getting on stream, or you being here. Like, I could have had tech issues. I could have like lost internet, you know, the moment that my in-laws went out the door. The fire alarm, which is a thing that happens here unfortunately often, could just randomly fucking go off, making streaming basically impossible. Anything could happen, but for now, as of this moment, as of my spoken word, everything is fine. So the time, the technology does not belong to me. If it happens to work for me, work with me, work with you, then we have this, and that's something to appreciate. Okay? It's not about losing time. It's about trying to keep in mind that my parents are not always going to be there forever. That I am basically performing a service, to put it crudely, in that my parents need their son. They need to communicate with me because I am the closest thing, evidently, that they have to a counselor. To a philosophical counselor, which is like a real thing. It falls in line with my role as a son. It helps me build willpower in the sense I'm deliberately choosing something I'd prefer not to do over something I'd rather be doing. Which again builds appreciation for if or when I do the thing I'd rather be doing. This does not mean that a Stoic never takes time for themselves, okay? Don't get it twisted. It doesn't mean that Stoics never do things they'd like to do or find fun. It does not mean that we do everything like with the belief that something could go wrong with it and then assume that it's going to. Okay? We do everything with an asterisk or a reservation clause. Saying to yourself, I'm going to set out to do this thing. If something gets in the way of it, I'm going to make the situation constructive to the best of my ability, somehow, in some way. Whatever happens, this leaves me as the acting party. I keep my choice whether to allow this thing happening or not happening to make me better or worse. Knowing that the fun thing could and does often get interrupted by things we'd rather not deal with means our appreciation for that fun thing gets heightened. It also means that an important psychological red line gets made, and it gets reinforced every time we set out to do something. That we're going to do our best with whatever it is, without claiming ownership over the result. The intentions and how we handle whatever the given thing is. Our intentions in the aftermath are the most critically important elements always. Appearances are rarely, if ever, able to capture what's actually happening in a given situation. The Stoics had this idea, okay, that they called impressions, right? Or movements of the soul. Like going to work and looking forward to going home and play. Exactly. That's exactly right. In Stoicism, we take in sensory information, right? This sensory information gets collected together into something that our human brains can understand. That things appear to be a certain way, right? Our basic instincts are combined with this first impression snapshot of what seems to be happening around us to either tell us, like, I'm good or I'm in danger. This first movement of the soul, this first impression, is what some would think of as like a fight or flight response, right? It's the very first indicator that you receive that something could be good or bad. Like, I'm about to get hit by a car, right? And this is bad. Or there were cookies in the kitchen that were not there before, this is good. That sort of thing. When these two things combine together, they form what is referred to as like a premise. It's like a concept. It's something that you can agree to. If you agree that yes, this information that I've gathered in this moment is accurate, and yes, I agree that this is a good or bad thing. If you agree, which in Stoicism is called giving your assent to the idea, then whatever you originally felt is magnified. And you reinforce a habit of thinking of similar situations, of reacting to similar situations in the same way. And vice versa, right? If you are able to notice this happening in yourself, which is something that seems automatic to us, right? But the only automatic part is that very first movement of the soul. We are the ones that agree with the premise, with the concept of what is happening, and yes, this is good or bad, right? We have a choice. Visiting family, love what I could be here for. Have a good rest of the stream. I'm sorry I missed that, Pushing, and I hope you have a great one, even though you're probably away. No, get it? The time off? I don't know if I can. I think I pretty much maxed out my PTO because my significant other, my wife, Shumi, wants me to like spend time with family and like pay attention to them and stuff like that. So what PTO I have left is accounted for. So, you know, rest and pepperonis on that front. You, by agreeing with whatever the idea was, right? The concept, by saying that, yes, I give my assent that this is the case, you build the habit of approaching things, similar things happening in the same way. But you have the choice of holding your assent and saying to yourself, I might not have all the information that I need. What seems to be happening might not be what's actually happening. How many times did you get what you thought was like a passive-aggressive text from someone, and it turned out that they just, I don't know, they fucking stubbed their toe or some shit, right? That you saw what you thought was information, you formed an opinion about it, and then you said, I agree, he's being an asshole to me, and I don't know why. You can hold back and then say, like, maybe he's just going through something. Maybe something happened in that moment. Maybe I'm misreading the plain text on the phone. That sort of thing. Text is an inefficient form of communication, absolutely. The more you want, the less you need. Like going to work and looking forward to going home and playing. For you. The key thought here is that everything that happened did, in fact, happen in a given way. But because of limited information and the judgments, desires, fears, opinions, beliefs, habits you've had in the moment, it affected you in a certain way. Had you been on a different end of whatever the situation is, it's entirely possible you had felt the complete opposite of whatever you did end up feeling. The actual material circumstances in a situation themselves, by themselves, don't tell us if what's happened is good or bad. A cookie does not tell me that it is a good thing. The car does not tell me that it is a bad thing that I'm about to be hit. These sentiments are ascribed by us to the things. We're the ones for informing ourselves of that, one way or another. We tell ourselves this benefits me in some way or harms me in some way, so it must be good or bad. When we do this, it's because we typically, without any kind of like introspection or trying to like work through the way that our brains work, we tell us that these things are in some way part of us. That PS5 Pro that we bought for $850 before tax, when we could have just gotten like a PC instead, it's bad if that gets knocked over and damaged. Like, I own that. Like, we're equating, we're pushing ownership, the idea of ownership, over the thing, instead of recognizing that it's plastic, it's metal. If it gets knocked over, it's going to be damaged. Do you think life is a simulation? I don't. Those leaving boots can be mine if I camp for 5 hours. I was in a car crash a few weeks ago. My car did in fact tell me I was about to be hit. Yeah, me too. I've been in car crashes too. We tell ourselves that these material things are some part of us, and this implied ownership is the cause of our feeling a given way when we're affected. This self-inflicted impression of ownership is also what causes us to try to turn against other people or to try to exploit other people. The takeaway is that we should be trying to see things from a third-person perspective. The Stoics refer to this as viewing from above. Imagine yourself, literally, like above yourself or aside yourself as an impartial third party observing what's happening. When you see a stranger say they're upset because their favorite mug with a funny saying on it fell and broke, you might imagine yourselves in the same shoes and be like, yeah, that sucks. But there's typically another thought. That things like that happen, and that nothing prevents that person from getting a new one. It's not the end of the world. Stoics try to reach and maintain this perspective as often as possible, not because it makes life easier to deal with in general, but because it's acknowledging a core truth, for the Stoics, that everything in life happens because of an assembly of things coming together in a certain way, and that it's not practical to believe that it would happen in any other way than the way that it does. What about free market capitalism? How important it is for us to get Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk to space? Isn't that what really Stoicism really should be about? I think that is what is in like the fragments. You know what would be funny? It would be funny if they like use like the scanning machines on like ancient scrolls, and they were like, and it was like Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus or Musonius Rufus like literally writing JK to everything that we said. It was sorry, it was just memes. Saying that things are negative or positive, adding those feelings to the mix, does not change the events. It's something we add. By changing what we value and how we value it, by turning our notion of what is good or evil away from external things and turning them inward, to doing our best with what we have in good faith for what we've been able to tell as the right reasons, we begin building independence, the roughest things life has to offer. And then we improve our chances of turning those very same things that would destroy us into something that we can use to improve us. Alright, let's see. Have any comments here? You seem kind of cool. Thank you. I appreciate you lying to me like that.
Thank you for following, Tarnished.
Thank you for following, level 99 Gaming Wiz. I don't know if I can keep up this amount of coolness. But you know, here's hoping. I can be cool sometimes. If I become the world's first I gotta move this to my main screen. If I become the world's first libertinism VTuber spreading the word of hedonism and indulgence, do we become mortal enemies to baby battle to death? You would think so, but no. Stoics had to work around other philosophical schools literally all the time. In fact, Stoics would try to identify if there's anything that they could use meaningfully and in a philosophically consistent way from your libertinism VTubering, and try to use it to help people, to try to like reverse engineer it into something that we think that we could use to help others. So no, you might want to battle to death with me, but that's like your thing. that's like your deal. Hey D-Bolt, good to see you. Shout out D-Bolt the bear. All right, I'm going to go on break for about 10 to 15 minutes. I do feel like playing a little bit of Frostpunk 2. There's still like about an hour and change before I have to stop, theoretically, in order to talk to my quote-unquote future producer / marketing analyst / social media manager. So, you know, if you've enjoyed this so far, hit that follow button. It helps me out more than I can, you know, properly express using the limitations of human language. Gets you free emotes, updates you when I'm around. If you like this a ton, consider subscribing. It helps. It gives you even more emotes, ad-free viewing, and every single dollar feeds back into the channel in some way. We don't have a meeting today. Oofers, dude. Were you not invited on the docket? Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, that's a rough one. Ruffers. Oofers. Oofers, dude. All right. Assuming that nothing breaks, I will see you in 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to swap over to Frostpunk 2. I'll see you guys then.